Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ground and Pound podcast, a show where, as always, we're hitting you with them elbows of knowledge. And the ultimate job interview, week 5 is back. Dana White's Contender Series here with the full main card breakdown for your boys here on the Ground and Pound podcast. And as you can see, I'm joined by my co-host and Mario, Carlos. What's happening, Carlos?
Absolutely nothing, brother.
And we're going to dive right in for the first fight on Dana White's Contender Series here. We've got Freddie Vidal taking on Felipe Franco. And I'm going to pass this one to you, Carlos. Who you got in this light heavyweight matchup?
Um, I went with Freddie Vidal. I didn't really get to see too much on Franco. What I got to see was a fight back in 2023. I think that's actually when he started fighting, and from that particular matchup, it showed that when he throws his punch out there, it was solid. It was a jab, and not the most technical with a takedown. He just kind of muscled the guy to the ground, and the way he controlled him on the ground, he left a lot of space in between his body and his opponent's body. So at that point, he was probably like a 3 or 4 tip white belt. I think I'm gonna assume by the technique, but I also didn't get to see much on Vidal either, and both of them kind of have first round finishes. The one thing that kind of puts me over with Vidal is, although I did see him throw some punches and he looked okay. What I think is he's also training at the Matt Serra Jiu Jitsu, and he's training striking with Ray Law as well. So he's got good guys around him. He has a little bit more of an extensive amateur background. So I think he'll probably get it done just based on experience. And he's probably working with good guys, and he's got good technique and on the ground. I just didn't get to see any of it. But yeah, I'm going to go with Freddie Vidal.
Yeah, nice segue actually for me to talk about that. That was kind of what my selling point here was Vidal was as well, is that Longo gym, obviously him training with known entities, guys that, are obviously high level in the sport over in the UFC. I think that's going to play a big factor for him here. When you look at tape on Franco, it's or the lack of tape on Franco, I should say, it's difficult. I saw one fight of his. He fought some guy that looked like he basically got offered free pizza to come and fight for, whatever this organization was over in Brazil. And he throws, a straight 1-2 down the pipe. He looks like he's in decent shape. I do think that Vidal's probably going to have the size and the strength advantage here. I think the takedowns will probably be on the side of Vidal. You have to think of him being over at Longo's gym. He's going to want to mix in some grappling here like he did in some of the fights that I saw. And it's hard to really get a read on, Franco. Obviously 8 fights, not a whole lot of tape out there. Still only 24 years old, fighting over, in Brazil. There's a lot of cans that I think are on that record as well. I'm going to go with Vidal here. I do think he's going to mix in the takedowns. I think he's going to be the bigger, stronger, more athletic guy here. I do think that Franco's going to have the speed advantage in the striking, but I just trust Vidal just to be able to get this fight to the ground. And the one fight I did see as well, he got armbarred pretty early in the first round. He showed a lot of toughness not to tap in that armbar. He showed, that he can overcome some adversity. I like seeing that. Combine that with the good gym. I think Vidal here gets the victory. I think he gets the fight to the ground, maybe wins the fight with ground and pound or maybe a late submission. And next up, we have Jason Blair taking on Samuel Sanchez. And I'll pass this one to you, Carlos. Who you got in this one?
And this one I went with Samuel Sanchez. I'm going to go with Blair right now. I think that he's got that collegiate wrestling, background. Um, he's got decent stand up. He's not going to be the aggressor in anything. He's really not even looking to counter punch. He just kind of bounces in and out, and he'll throw a strike here and there. Uh, Um, on the At least he's looking to finish. He's trying to get the submissions. That's part of his game. So if he gets you down, uses some of his wrestling, he could probably look for those as well. Maybe some strikes to get an opening. Uh, his last time out, he was stopped by Cody Steele. Cody Steele, I think, is the more talented on the ground than of the two when he was fighting Blair, and more talented on the feet as well. But Samuel Sanchez seems to be very aggressive on the feet, and he throws punches and bunches. He doesn't really throw in technical combinations. He just kind of throws some hooks. They're not as wild as you would think they would be. for somebody that throws like that, but they are pretty technical. He does throw kicks. He mixes those in very nicely, and he gets knees in as well. And so he's not just a boxer. Whereas Blair doesn't really throw a lot of kicks. Um, I went with Sanchez because even though I don't know a lot of his ground game, I don't know like where he's training or anything. But what I do know is I think his bit of early aggression towards Blair in the fight might be enough to get him stopped. Blair likes to just kind of bounce out of the range, and that's actually how he got clipped. So I would assume that Sanchez would just follow up and keep throwing some punches there, and he might just catch him and end the night for Blair.
Yeah, I'm gonna. This one was tough because I think this is going to be a tale of two fights. I agree with what Carlos said about Sanchez. I think that he comes out very aggressive very early. He looks very explosive, and he really looks the part early in round one. I just think he's not really been tested, which is why I'm going to go with Blair here. When you look at Samuel Sanchez, he really likes to blast the low kick. He will come out very aggressive early, like I said, swinging, not necessarily wild, but I think that his athleticism really comes early in that round one. And I don't think that because he's been tested and dragged into deep waters, and I haven't really seen too much of his ground game, it kind of leaves a few question marks here for me. When you look at Blair, on the feet, his stand up is kind of mediocre to me. Sometimes he leaves his chin up in the air. He has a couple of nice strikes. He tries to stay, technical. He tries to be, composed on the feet. But where I think that he can have success, and where I've seen him have success in some of his wins, is with the grappling for Over in Cage Warriors. When he gets the fight to the ground, he transitions very nicely on the ground. I do think that when he's looking to beat you up on the ground, that opens up for the submissions as well. I think here, just the fact that I've not seen a whole lot of ground game from Sanchez, and he comes out very early, I do think that it's going to open up the takedowns for Blair. I just worry that he doesn't come in looking for the takedowns. He tries to strike with Sanchez. I think if this plays back and forth with the striking, I think Sanchez will probably win it. I have a feeling that Blair's going to come in here, level change, get the fight to the ground, and he seems to have a little bit more confidence in his ground game. He looks a little bit more comfortable on the mat than he does on the feet. I think it'll be best served if he goes for the takedown. But if this fight plays out on the feet, I like Sanchez. But I just have a feeling that Blair's going to mix in the grappling, ultimately find the ground and pound finish here or a submission as well. So I'm going to go with Blair to get this one done. And next up, we have Cam Teague taking on Lorraine Douglas. Is it Lorraine Douglas? Lorraine Douglas. Carlos, who you got in this one?
I went with Douglas in this one. Teague's tough. You know what I mean? I think think he can take a good shot. He likes to mix it up. He loves a firefight. Mixes in all the striking. What I feel here is that depending on if the fight goes to decision, Teague likes to stay busy, likes to be in your face and pressure. That could also get him in trouble as well, or it can benefit him in the eyes of the judges and make him look like he's the busier, more active fighter. I'm going to go with Douglas with this one because even though he's not as active in the match in between rounds, I do think that he lands the more decisive punches, the more powerful punches. I think he actually does a little bit more damage, and I feel like he's more skilled and he can take this fight wherever he'd like it to go. Um, it sucks because if he doesn't get the finish, I feel that Teague might get the decision based on output, but I'm going to go with Douglas because I feel he can get the finish in this one.
Yeah, two for Douglas here. This is probably one of my more confident picks on this card. Cam Teague does not impress me whatsoever. I know Carlos sometimes he likes to be a nice guy. He likes to not talk shit about some of these guys. But I'm going to talk some shit about Cam Teague. He reminds me of Cheddar Bob from 8 Mile. He looks like the kind of guy that would shoot himself in the leg with his own gun. And to me, Cam, the level of competition that he's fought in his 9-1 career is just not all that. When you look at some of the victories he's got over guys that are like 9-8, 3-2. I just don't see it. He comes out very aggressive. He leaves a lot of openings for him to be caught. He smothers his opponents. He's not necessarily known for his one-shot power. He does have good volume and good cardio. He is a dog. I'll give him that. Obviously, he did lose to Kevin Vallejos, who is in the UFC, who's looked very good up until this point on Contender Series, getting knocked out there. Like I said, I just wasn't overly impressed by not only his level of competition, but he's not. he's not getting guys out of there with, taking the back and looking anything special. He just looks like he's just fighting low level guys. And when you talk about Douglas, there is a big step up in competition when you talk about these two guys' records, fighting over in LFA, fighting 18-3 opponents, 15-2, et cetera, et cetera. The level of competition is there, and he's finishing those guys. And don't get me wrong, I know Carlos did mention about the lack of volume for Douglas. My whole thing with this fight is once Douglas gets into an opportunistic position, whether that be looking for a body lock takedown or a blast double that I've seen him have, I think once he gets in that dominant position, he's going to be able to finish Teague just based on his experience, the higher level fighting IQ. And I think on the feet as well, he does a good job of throwing overhands. He has some nice power shots. And I think that Teague leaves himself open to be hit. And I do think that Douglas is a wild man at times too. I think he can get caught up into a brawl. Obviously, out of his 5 losses, he has been stopped a few times himself. But I put that down to him fighting a higher level competition, not necessarily that he's being caught for being as wild as what Teague is. I think Teague will leave too many openings here. Give me Douglas to find the finish here on the feet. And next up, we have the co-main event here for Dana White's Contender Series. And if you're enjoying the content here, hit that like and subscribe button as we break down Chanel Dyer taking on Carol is it Farrow? Carlos?
Farrow.
Who you got in this one?
I'm going to go with Dyer in this one. With the height and reach advantage, also the speed advantage, she should be able to get this done. But Farrow looks like she carries some weight behind those punches. And a lot of the fights that she's had, she looks like she's hurt her opponents. Plus, she's got some first round stoppages and stoppages to the body as well. So I do think that there's danger for Dyer. So she's got to be on point when she's bouncing in and out of the pocket. What I did notice was Farrow in her only loss, her opponent had a speed advantage on her as well, and kind of a reach advantage, and that kept her out of a lot of danger. She threw a lot of long strikes. She bounced in and out of the pocket, and the timing for Farrow just wasn't there at 5'2", and she's not the fastest fighter either. So I'm gonna go with Dyer on this one, and I think that she could probably find the openings and get the decision.
Yeah, I said to Carlos before we started recording this video, I think this is probably the one fight where I noticed that 2 women that actually stand out on this card as potential UFC candidates, people that you could see inside the UFC, making some noise in the division, somebody you would actually want to see fight. Some of the sloppy heavyweight fights, some of the fights on this card, I think that it's kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel, but these 2 actually look pretty decent. Dyer has a very nice Muay Thai style, very snappy kicks, trains over at GB Top Team, which is one of the up-and-coming UK gyms, fought over in the PFL 3 times as well, and some of the tape study that I saw on her, she impressed me because she's not necessarily just Muay Thai, she's really mixed in a nice MMA game. She showed off her grappling. Her opponent, was throwing up submissions, she was defending well, getting into side control, beating her up with elbows. She looked like she was very competent in the grappling, and when it comes to her striking, she looks great. If you look at that Muay Thai style that she has, she can really throw her back leg at any moment. She can snap that kick up there to the head and catch you, obviously, if you're not prepared for it. She is going to have the height and reach here at 5'6", taking on 5'2". And I do think that with Farrow, she does have a lot of power in the hands. It is definitely noticeable. A lot of her wins do come first round knockout. She has nice hooks, really good boxing as well. And it surprised me at 5'2" that she's knocking all of these girls out. So I actually think this is a very good fight. I do think that Farrow could definitely pull off an upset here. I do think that Dyer is a little bit more well-rounded, and I think the kicks are going to be a problem in this matchup. I think that what I've seen from Farrow, that you haven't seen too much grappling. You've mostly seen the boxing, and I do think that the size of Dyer and the kicks at range here are going to cause her some problems. And I'm going to go with Dyer here. I think that she can also fall back on the grappling if she needs to. I think she trains at a good gym. She's obviously very young and up and coming. She's got experience at a high level over in PFL. And I can't remember who Farrow fought, but I did see that she lost when she had a little bit of a higher step up in competition, I believe, over in LFA. So give me Chanel Dyer here to get this one done. She impressed me this week. I think she's probably going to win by unanimous decision here, maybe mixing in some grappling late if she does get a little bit caught on the feet with Farrow's power. But I did like Chanel Dyer. I think she'll make some noise here inside the UFC. And that brings us to the main event here for Dana White's Contender Series Week 5. And if you're enjoying the content, hit that like and subscribe button as we break down Steven Asblood is it Asplund? I'm not even sure how you say that name. Against Anthony Garusio. Carlos, who you got in this heavyweight banger?
Um, I went with Garusio in this one. Aspelin has heavy strikes, but so does Garusio. Right? Is that how we're saying that?
Garusio, yeah, I think so.
Garasio. I think either way. Uh, Garacio's a big guy, but he's not too big like where he's kind of in his own way. Whereas Aspelin, if it stays on the feet, he throws some very solid strikes. You can see on the impact when he hits guys. You can actually hear the impact as well. Um, they don't like it. The kicks are hard. The punches are hard. He looks good, but as soon as he hits the ground, he's like a turtle. He cannot get up. He even struggles to roll over to his stomach and to try to get up. And I just think with Garasso here, being I think it was Gracie Tampa West is his gym, right? Whatever the school is, you know that with the name Gracie, they're teaching him some form of ground game. So he's got to be a little bit more knowledgeable on the ground. Both of them are getting first round knockouts, which they're supposed to. They're big guys on the regional scene. If you're on Dana White's Contender, most of these people probably have over a dozen or dozens of first round finishes. I just think that stand up wise, if this stays on the feet, Garasso here, what he's got to do is uh, stay moving, keep his guard up, watch for the knees, watch for the kicks, and throw that overhand. You can't just run in reckless like you have in most of your previous fights because Aspelund is going to catch you with a straight or he's going to blast you with that inside leg kick that he does. One of the other things, too, is with Aspelund, for somebody that big and you want to stay on your feet, you would assume you'd have some takedown defense. Not only is he a turtle on his back, he just kind of teeters over as soon as you touch his legs. He has no bit of a balance at all. So I think it would be great for Garacio here to come in, throw a few punches, try to slip, get inside, and go for the takedown. It's the easiest route to victory. Yes, you got to get in, the phone booth with him. You're going to take a couple shots. Once you get it to the ground, I think you'll be all right. So I'm going with Anthony Guaracio on this one. Tore
Yeah,
up his name. So.
I'm right there with you, man. I'm going with Garacio. When you look at Asplund, I'm pretty sure I'm butchering that last name. When I watched tape on him, the commentary team talked about how he trained with Alvin Hines and Thomas Peterson, which is arguably two of the worst heavyweights that you could possibly name. But him fighting over, I believe it was in the Midwest. He's not fighting at the highest level of guys, but even when he is, he's really known more of a volume guy. He's putting people out later in the second and third round, not known for his sort of one punch power, and he even refers to himself as the Fat Max Holloway. He tries to be light on his feet, but I just don't see it. There's nothing blessed about him, and I think that he's one of these guys, man. That like I watched the tape on him, and I was kind of just like, this kind of just seems like a little bit of a joke to me. Like he just doesn't, nothing really stands out to me as being too good. Like Carlos mentioned, his takedown defense sucks. He's more of a volume puncher at heavyweight, which never seems to end well. A lot of the guys he's fighting don't even look like they're really up for the fight. They kind of shell away. And one thing that I did notice about Garacio is he's down to swing hammers. This guy will throw ham hocks. He will come. He will push a pace. He will look to get in your face and be aggressive. And the only thing that kind of has me concerned is that the moment gets to him here. Dana White's Contender Series, UFC contract, only 3-0, and he just goes wild. Gas is out, and Asplund is able to kind of take over with the better cardio and the more volume that he has. What I did notice, though, in one of Garusio's last fights where he was able to win the belt in his regional fight, was that he looked a little bit more measured on the feet. He was making a conscious effort to throw the jab out there and set up the right hand, walk his opponent down, but be a little bit more measured and not just kind of collide into the pocket like I've seen in previous fights of his. For that reason, I'm going to go with Garusio. I wasn't necessarily overwhelmed with his skill set. I think this is a terrible fight, to be honest with you. And both of these guys will probably get smoked if they did get a contract into the UFC heavyweight division. But I just trust that what I've seen from Garusio is that he does have the one-shot power. He is trying to be measured, whereas with Asplund, I mean, the fat Max Holloway. What are we even talking about? But yeah, two for Garusio here on the Ground and Pound podcast, Dana White's main event. And as always, I have to let you guys know what's coming on the channel, what's already here. We have the full card breakdown for UFC Paris. If you're new to the channel, that's a full detailed breakdown for UFC Paris, this weekend's event, along with the best bets video for UFC Paris to put some money in your wallet. And if you didn't know, the dog of the week is live. We have the dog of the week, which is my favorite betting underdog on the entire UFC Paris card. Full highlight reel tape and why I like him this week. Check that video out. I'll leave a link in the description. And before we wrap things up, Carlos, is there anything that you want to say to the people?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I absolutely love that nickname, the Fat Max Holloway. I didn't see that part. And to be honest with you, he must have not watched that video when Holloway got taken down. He was able to get back up. So once he watches the rest of that, he'll figure out I got to train that as well. But just want to say if you guys enjoyed this, as we enjoyed doing it, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yep. Stay blessed, everybody, apart from that guy's takedown defense. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Peace.